Scott Fresener here with t-biz TV with my good, longtime friend, Richard Greaves. Richard, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Now, we have to give the plug because we're in the AGFA booth at SGIA in New Orleans.
And
they had the best background, so we thought we'd just shoot the thing here. Now, I've known Richard for, we think, 25 years?
Before 1985.
Oh, that
but
long.
I knew you before you know me because I remember sitting in 1980 in a restaurant reading the Black Book and marking it up with a yellow marker.
He had the book. Yeah. Now, for those of you that don't know, Richard has been around a long time, as we just established, but Richard was very responsible for the process printing on shirts. I mean, you were one of the guys that pioneered with you and Fred Clark.
Where would we be without Fred Clark?
Fred, rest in peace, of course.
When Fred retired, then I moved on to Jeff Campos, and especially with the work I had with Union Ink in making two-tone colors. Those are the glory days of the process.
I think you were one of the guys that people now do things on process that they have no idea that you were one of the pioneers of either of the angles and the line count and the separations and how they're done and undercolor removal. And I think you did a lot of work on all that stuff.
I made an awful lot of screens trying to figure out how to get that to actually work.
You're the guy. See, I've been telling people that I'm the guy that made a lot of screens. They say, well, do those angles work? Oh, yeah, they work because I made all those screens, but it was your screens.
I told somebody last night that every four-color process job I've ever done, I know I made at least 10 screens. Because two of them don't come out because I proofed all those screens before they went out to the press. That's what proof actually means. And you don't see people doing that. But people are making their own separations in their own computers these days.
Yeah, they have a program called t-seps, and they use that, and it works out pretty well.
I have Scott Fresener do my separations.
Yeah. Now, how many articles have you written?
I stopped counting around 300.
That many. And you still have all the archives of all the magazines?
I have, going back into the 50s. I have my birthday issue, which is a girl in a swimming outfit demonstrating how you can screen print on water. Front cover. The old covers of Screen Printing Magazine used to be screen printed.
Now, if you ever want a back issue of a magazine, Richard's the guy. Because you were always the guy that had the archives of all the stuff.
Well, I loaned you a few magazines a while ago for that court case. I wonder where those are.
I'll have to get you the magazines back. Now,
in fact, SGIA is sending me their back issues that they don't want them anymore, and Marcy is sending them to me.
Wow.
So I cut the binders off, and I cut the edges off, and I scan them, and I'm going to try and do some sort of an archive.
Now, you're Richard the blogger now.
Well, let's say that the year 2012 will be the year of the blogging.
Well, and what forum are you hanging out on the most?
T-shirts forums.
And are you like a regular? I mean, you hang out and wait for people to post? And...
Not as much, but I prowl that all the time. I'm looking usually for exposure problems, screen making problems, definitely, but also things in ink and printing because there's a lot that can be done. There are a lot of new people coming out, and it's on the internet. That's where they are.
Oh, yeah, the information is there for sure. Now, you're doing speaking now. You've been speaking. You're kind of on a hiatus temporarily.
Yeah, well, I used to do all the shows for Printware, and they've switched some things, and so I'm taking a year off. At least that's what I'm trying to say. But Bob maybe have me back, but I won't be speaking at Printware anymore. Now,
how many seminars do you think you've done? I mean, I lost count on mine. I bet it's over 1,000. I'm thinking if you think about all the shows for 30 years.
With the open houses that I used to do for Stretch Devices, for Yolano, for Lawson, I used to teach all the time. Every weekend. We used to, when they had open houses all the time, we used to go someplace every other weekend. And so...
You may have done a couple thousand.
At least 1,000.
I remember going to shows and Stretch Devices, their booth was made of screen frames, and you would be in the little screen frame room giving the seminars nonstop.
Scary.
So I'm talking with a living legend who's been on kind of a hiatus for a while, Richard Greaves, and this guy knows everything. I'm Scott Fresener from beautiful New Orleans. How many times have we been here?
Every 4 years.
Every 4 years. Oh my God.
Since 1985.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.